Hello and welcome to CTU Alumni, a podcast from the Czech Technical University in Prague about our amazing students and graduates from all over the world who have gone on to do big and beautiful things. My name is Caleb House. I'm an International Relations Coordinator at CTU, and I'm here to talk with our international alumni who have completed English top programs to find out why they decided to study at CTU, what their experience was like, and most importantly, where are they now? Let's jump straight in with today's guest. So today on the podcast, we have Ernesto Iván Hidalgo, a citizen of Mexico who came to Prague for the first time to study in 2021. And you came to the Faculty of Information Technology to do a master's degree in computer science. Is that right?
That's right, Philip. Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here.
Thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. And you go by Ivan.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. So that's the very basic introduction, but there's a lot more to know about you before you came to Prague, I'm sure. Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up, what your life was like, maybe your education before deciding to come to study at CTU?
Of course. I was born in Mexico City. I grew up there all of my life. I went to school there. I went to university there. I was also studying bachelor's in computer science in Mexico. And during one of my final semesters, I had the crazy idea of going into an exchange program. And I was, okay, let's look at the options that we have here. Let's see which ones are not closed already, which were kind of a few of them. Now let's see which one is the cheapest one of them, which turned out to be, fortunately, Czech Republic. Not by a lot. It was affordable, let's say. So I came here during the winter exchange program for a couple of months to study cybersecurity. Met one of the professors from CTU. He gave me this tour of the faculty, the different laboratories and different classrooms. And I just immediately fell in love with the university. It was such a beautiful place. I remember seeing students drinking on the grass and thinking like, oh my God, what's happening with them? Why are they drinking? Like, that has to be illegal. They're going to get arrested. No, it's just...
That was a key factor, huh? Like, students are drinking on campus. I have to come back.
What is this crazy place? Then when I came back to Mexico, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Once I graduate, there is no one giving me any objectives anymore. I have to figure out my life's mission by myself. So I started researching a lot about history, a lot about culture in my country, in different countries. I have family in the US, so they were offering me the opportunity to study there at one of the universities. I applied to a bunch of different countries, and then I just decided, okay, what do I think the world is going to look like in maybe 10 years? And I decided that there are maybe some things in the West, some societal changes that seem to be, at least to me, maybe not going in the right direction. The overreaching of certain ideologies seem to be problematic. And the erasure of political figures that appear to be offensive for some people. I think it's our duty as this generation to teach our children about humanity's long, sad, and messy history, all of it, and to rob them of this right to know, okay, this is what we believed in, this is the mistakes that we made. That you just take that away from them, I think it's malignant.
So you saw a different mentality in the Czech Republic from what you studied, and that's the main thing that drew you would say, to Central Europe in general.
100%. Mm-hmm. The fact that it has very long history. It had the history of occupation by certain regimes, and there are people right now in the flesh that sort of rise up and fall down, and they can transmit whatever they learn or the lessons they got from that to the next generation. I think that's very, very important.
It's not many students, especially at CTU, who are generally computer scientists, engineers, who make their decision based on history and culture. So this is quite unusual. But would you say that when you arrived here, now that you've been here for 2 years, living here for 2 years, were those helpful ways to make the decision about where to study? Did that turn out the way that you thought it would when you were making the decision?
100%. I think people here, at least in the circles of people in the university, they're very pragmatic. They are very open for discussion of many different topics. And they are not, let's say, scared of offending you, which I think it's an amazing condition for free speech and the exchange of ideas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Were there any other factors in deciding to study abroad at all and then choosing CTU specifically?
Yes. When I was making my life's goals, I wanted to gather as much experience as possible to see what's happening out there in the world. I was thinking, okay, I have been living in this country for almost 20 years. I don't know very much about first-hand experiences in other regions of the world. So, maybe there is something interesting happening there. Why not just go and explore it? That was also a big part of it. And what was the second part of the question?
If there were any other factors deciding to study specifically at CTU. So that's about your motivation to go out into the world somewhere. Mm-hmm. But besides the culture and the history from what you observed, were there any other factors about CTU specifically that brought you here? Yeah.
I was deciding between Charles University, well, let's say other universities in Europe, and I found out that CTU has a very good ranking at the global level, and it has a lot of technical knowledge, which I think is. I mean, I would rather blow things up and figure out by mistakes, than just be studying theoretical parts of my career.
So have you gotten to blow up many things and make mistakes and disastrous mistakes in the laboratory? Or we can't talk about that here.
Oh, there have been a couple of misfortunes, let's say.
I'll move on, yeah. So you decided to come here. You arrived back. Now, you had the experience of already being an exchange student. How do you think that changed the first few weeks and months of being here? Would you say that was really, really impactful on your initial experience when you arrived here as a full-time student to live here?
Yes. During the first time I came here for the full-time program, I remember I didn't have internet here. I had an Airbnb rented out for like 1 month. But once I got here, I wasn't able to contact the person. I was basically just wandering alone, like aimlessly in the city with my luggage and thinking, what did I do? Like, why did I came here?
And sorry, that's when you came here as an exchange student?
Yeah, as a full-time. As
a full-time student. So you had already lived here for a couple of months as an exchange student. But when you came back, you didn't have your accommodation.
Yeah.
And you were just wandering the streets,
just
trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to figure out my Airbnb location, trying to contact the person. Oh my God, bless his heart. I found this guy in a Potrebini store who very kindly lent me his phone to make the phone call. That saved my life, probably.
Wow.
But it was just like that feeling of being completely alone in this strange alien world where no one is speaking your language. I was just thinking, like, is it a mistake? Like, why am I here? Like, what am I gonna do if I don't find like some place to stay? But now, like, after having so many experiences, I'm going anywhere. I don't care. I will survive somehow. I will figure it out.
I think everyone needs to go through that experience a couple of times just to realize that even when things look really bad, like, you do get through it, and then that helps, like, the next time you have that situation, like, okay, it's gonna get through it. But that first experience of being on your own truly for the first time ever and being completely lost, is a pretty terrifying thing, but really useful for personal growth, I think, also. How did it continue? Like, your first few months of realizing, I'm living here, this is now a culture and an environment and an academic culture that I have to adjust to and to make my own. What were the ups and downs of that adjustment period for you?
Of course, I would say main thing was just finding accommodation. It's really hard. Prague has not too many free rooms and a lot of people wanting to live here, so I must have applied to maybe 100 different locations.
Wow.
I got maybe 3 or 4 responses back. I'm super fortunate to have found a really good place here. With the teachers, I was very scared. Like, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna ask incredibly specific things and I'm gonna be tested every single day, which sometimes it happens. But it was they have made a great job at creating this learning environment at CTU.
So let's go to the learning environment then. Did you see any significant differences in your academic experience in Mexico compared to what you had here?
That's a good question. Maybe just the quality. I think here the quality is very good all across the board. I haven't really had many bad experiences. I have had some administrative mess ups. Like, for one of my course, we didn't have it because they told the teacher 1 week before the semester started. So that was a fun experience, having and not having a course at the same time.
Right.
But also, I think it's more similar in terms that many of the things that you actually use in your job, you learn by practice and outside of school. That's universal, I think.
Outside of school, what do you mean by that?
By actually working.
Okay. So that's jumping ahead a little bit, but let's do that actually. So can you say a little bit about the job experiences that you've had while being a student? Because you're still studying. Like a lot of our guests here, they've graduated, they're now working, and we talk about that. But I would really like to hear about the experience of working and studying at the same time, how easy it was to find opportunities, and what kind of work opportunities you found.
Sure. I have been working here for the most of my master's program at the university, because thankfully the teacher that I met on my first visit to Czech Republic, he has some contacts in the electrotechnical faculty. So I was able to get a job there working for one of the laboratories. And I would say that the most important part was that it was so flexible. I don't have a time to come, I don't have a time to go. I just work and I say how many hours at the end of the day. And that's how the agreements went.
What kind of work is it?
It was development job, basically for these ink tablet displays. They need this application that has connects to some database. It creates some events and then prints them in these tablets.
Would you say that this work experience was comparable to what you were studying, and that you were getting experience that would help you in the career that the degree was pointing you towards? Were these complementary, basically, your studies and the work that you were doing while studying?
Not too much, because the actual technical specifications were very, very unique to this project, and it was not really matching. But after that, when I started doing my thesis, I'm working with Czech Blind United, the association for blind people here in Czech Republic. I met one of their members through one of the events in International Student Club, and I'm working to make an application for them, going to their center here in the city center. And that project really was very, very closely tied to what I was learning.
So can you tell me more about that experience? So what type of work are you actually doing for this association?
Yeah. Basically, they needed an application that provided some functionalities that some applications in the market do not have right now. It was just a lot of meetings with them, getting some requirements, learning about their experiences. I'm so grateful to my thesis supervisor, Eric. He has been both a translator and a guide during these meetings. And it's just, I think technology is meant to help people. I'm not really interested in making things like 5% more efficient. I'm more interested in doing things that people will actually find helpful, that will help them live a better life. We are living in the age of magic where we can do this. Yes.
Speaking of a translator, how important do you think it would be to have some level of Czech to have these types of job experiences that you've had? To get the job experience, I would say it's not required, but to actually be productive and connect with people is indispensable for job and for life in Czech Republic. If you're staying for a long time, people will definitely be very happy if you just say hi in Czech to them. It's very, very important. And going back to what you were saying about how you see technology as being to help people, do you feel like this is a mentality of a lot of your teachers in the classroom also, that there is a practical approach saying like, this is not just theory, this is to do amazing things and to help people? Does that come out in the classes?
Some of them, because it's a very technical field of studies. So a lot of people are working to make things more efficient, to find new ways to how to organize things, to build different things. There is like this broad approaches of people that are very doing this type of research, and people who are applying this research to make these practical projects. It's not like one is better than the other, both complement each other. I have used so many libraries written by different people that allow me to create these practical implementations.
Do you think that most of your classmates have had part-time jobs while studying, like the international classmates? All of them?
All of them, yeah.
Was it pretty easy and straightforward for most of them to find work?
No. Definitely not. It took a while for them to find this work, especially one that is flexible enough to allow them to study and work at the same time.
Right. So now you've been here for 2 years. You're about to finish your master's degree. You're facing the exams now.
Hopefully, yeah.
So again, we thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast during this very busy time. Looking back on your 2 years of studying at CTU, What do you feel about the experience as a whole? Like, do you think it was a good decision to come here? And let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. I will definitely not be the person that I am if I have not taken this decision. Sounds kind of redundant. Of course, I had chosen a different path, I will be a different person. But I have suffered a lot. I have had so many great experiences as well. I will say the good outweighs the bad tenfold.
Nice.
It has been something that I absolutely do not regret. I love being here. I love meeting so many people, helping so many people as part of the student club. And learning just growing so much as a person and in my technical field of studies as well.
Do you feel that your studies here have prepared you for the next step, like the career that you want and the job that you want to go to next? That's a long pause.
Yeah, it's a long pause, yeah. Definitely. I would say it's because software is a very, let's say, broad field. There are many things that I will not use that I have definitely only studied for the exam. And there are many other things that I apply every day in my projects. So yeah, definitely. Not everything is useful, but all of it has at least some use.
Nothing was pointless or useless in the courses.
No, I really don't think anything was.
That's good to hear. Now, while having a job and while studying, you also volunteered quite a lot for the International Student Club, which is specifically to help the international exchange students here. How did you find that opportunity, and what motivated you to get involved with the International Student Club?
Of course, I met them first during the orientation week. And it was really funny because I read International Student Club. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be international students like me. But no, I went there and it's only Czech and Slovak people, which was like a surprise. But I decided to stick around. I made some friends there. And let's say we do a lot of different things. We help students that come here. We organize different events. We collaborate with the rectorate. I would say like one of the let's say like one of the reasons I came there is because I came here alone, like no one was helping me. People from there lended me a hand and made me feel welcome in this like strange new place. And it was my mission to do it for the next people that come here as well.
And can you give us some examples of how that played out, if you had opportunities to pass your experience on to other students?
Yes. There is this girl I met during my first semester here, this Korean girl. And talking with her, she was kind of sad because she didn't have any local friends. And I told her, hey, but like, why? Like, just go and talk to them. And we started like making this conversation. I gave her some tips about how to approach Czech people.
What are those tips, by the way? That could be interesting. What are the tips for approaching Czech people?
Approach them like they are a nervous horse. They can be scared of you, but don't worry. It is fine. It is fine.
You can tame them eventually. Yeah.
No, just make an effort because they are not forced to be your friends. And not everyone is going to want to be your friend. But you need to put definitely a lot of effort compared to different cultures I have met. This girl, like after the end of the semester, there was this barbecue that the Korean students organized. And they were able to bring one person like as a guest to this event. She chose me. She told me I invited you here to say thanks. Thank you for giving me the courage to make friends here. And that was like such a magical moment. I was so moved by that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a heartwarming moment.
That's really great. So Ivan, what's next for you? What are your goals? What are you aiming at? Like you will graduate in a few months, and so what's next?
Hopefully, yeah. I am in the process of applying for different job positions. I do have a couple of offers, so I would like to remain here in Czech Republic. If I am not able to secure a job, then I will just get married. Fine. Worst case scenario.
You mean to a Czech girl so you can stay here?
Yeah.
Like any way necessary, you want to stay here.
I mean, I would like to stay here, but I don't want to be the guy that just marries to stay here. You know, I don't want to be that person. Yeah.
So it seems like you really want to stay here. What motivates you to stay in the Czech Republic? Is it the job market? Is it the living environment? Is it because you're comfortable here? What are the main factors?
I would say specifically in Prague because it's like a big village in the sense that life is simultaneously crazy and adventurous and fun, but it's also slow if you want to take it slow. It's quiet if you want a quiet place. And I have met so many people from the university just walking in the public transport, just riding it. It's like, oh, like I seen this person, and we're just like finding each other like all the time in the street. So I enjoy that so much.
Right.
And quality of life is quite good, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so too. And looking farther into the future, let's say in 10 years, where would you like to be? Can you imagine that you would still be here, or would you like to be working in another country? Maybe something about your career ambitions, where you would like to go in your career?
I would definitely like to establish a company here in Europe. I would not like to be employed by someone my whole life. So in 10 years, I will definitely strive to make that goal a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in Czech Republic, maybe somewhere else, but definitely here in Europe.
Right. And to close this out, maybe there are people listening who are right now considering whether or not they should study at CTU. From your experience, is there anything that you would like to say to them, or some advice about that very important decision in their life?
Yes. You only get to live once. You're probably having a lot of doubts about this, a lot of, let's say, uncertainty. Well, guess what? 10 years from now, you're going to have the same uncertainty. Just go for it. Like, take the leap. Go in exchange. You will have bad times, you will have good times, you will have friends, you will have enemies, lovers, maybe, if that's what you're looking for. But you will not regret it. You will definitely grow as a person. And the fear, you just overcome fear by confronting it, not by running away from it. So do it.
That's great advice. So I think that'll do it for today. We're going to come back to you in just a second to ask you to close the podcast in kind of a special way. So don't go anywhere. But if you are actually an international alumni of CTU, in case you didn't know, you can now join the CTU Alumni Network, which gives you opportunities not only to tell your story, but to catch up with former classmates, to attend events that are exclusively for the international CTU alumni, to network with professionals, and to find out what alumni are doing all over the world. So check out the website. There are really a lot of benefits, whether or not you decided to stay in Prague. And you can start connecting with professionals right away on the LinkedIn page. That's CTU Alumni on LinkedIn. And we hope that you'll get connected. It would be great to have you as part of the network. And Ivan, at the end of each podcast, we like to ask the guests, because they come from all over the world, to actually close the podcast in their native language. So could you say something to our guests to close this out in your native, I'm assuming, Spanish language?
Yes, of course. Muchas gracias por escuchar el episodio de hoy. Esperamos que les haya gustado mucho y esperamos verlos en el siguiente y que sigan a este podcast. Muchas gracias.